Visionaries is brought to you in partnership with Harvard University's Ash Institute for Democratic Governance. Additional funding provided by Helen D. Groom Beatty Trust, a Mellon Mid-Atlantic charitable trust.
Visionaries is proud to present its 15th season on public television. Sometimes you read the paper and watch the news, and it seems like there's more bad news than good in the world. But you know what? It's just not true.
I at least can hold on to something, that there's something, maybe it's small, but there's something that I'm doing to make a difference.
It's just a feeling that you have. If you can help people, you have to. There's no alternative.
Every child has potential that we just can't know. And so, to my mind, that's what we're doing. We are saving potential for the future.
It all sounded too good to be true. Lock them up and throw away the key. Now we have more than 2.3 million people behind bars, and guess what, folks? Almost all of them are coming home. There are really only two ways that can occur. They can come back to your neighborhood rehabilitated and prepared to live in society, or not. This is the story of how one state decided to put the corrections back into their Department of Corrections, not to coddle prisoners, but as a means of minimizing violence and crime inside prison, as a way of reducing the long-term cost of government by actually reducing crime in society, and, all the while, changing lives. The results? Inmate-on-inmate violence is down by 37%. Inmate-on-staff assaults by 51%. And inmate suicides have been reduced by 33%. And that is just the beginning of a story that starts on the first day an inmate enters the system.
There are more than 2 million people behind bars in the United States. Almost all of them are coming home. When they do get out, most of them are going to commit another crime, get arrested, and be back in prison within 3 years. Why then is it called corrections?
When I hired Director Shiro, I said I wanted to put corrections back in the Department of Corrections. That it has two purposes. One is punishment, but the other is to make sure that when somebody goes back out again, they're just not following the same path, to correct the path that that inmate had been on.
Day one of prison in Arizona is all about business. It's all about safety. It's all about security. One of the many ways that Arizona is unique is we want to know who inmates are capable of becoming at their best, as well as knowing who they can be at their worst.
'Cause here I stand on a mountain, waiting for tomorrow. 'Cause my whole world as I know it came crashing down today.
Getting ready is Arizona's strategy to get every inmate ready for release starting day one of incarceration. And that's where we begin our story here at the Intake Center for the Arizona Department of Corrections.
We are now. Are you ready?
I'm great.
Are you ready? Please be ready.
We're right now in the process of doing the gang affiliation assessments, looking for tattoos, and the officers are now, looking at those tattoos to determine if they are gang affiliations.
I'm ready to change the world. Oh yeah. Ready to change the world.
These prescription reading glasses, what are they? The final identification process, of course, isn't complete until we have the photo ID of the inmate, full 10 fingerprints, which are automated and go directly into our public safety department, and Fast ID, which also further verifies that we have the right inmate.
Now, of course, that we have all the critical information to assign them a custody level, let's talk about how we're going to identify the needs that they have so that we can get them ready, starting right now, for home.
Okay, turn towards your side so I can get your upper arm.
Good morning, Warden.
Good morning. How are you?
Mr. Perrin, how are you?
Good morning.
Listen, I'd like to go see the rest of the assessment process. What most folks don't realize is that it's really critical for us to know what everyone's needs are so that we can really get them ready to go home right away, starting day one of their incarceration.
As you know, ma'am, this area is our diagnostic center, and it's part of the critical assessment of each individual as they enter into the system where we determine educational needs, chemical dependency, needs for treatment in that aspect, and also spiritual assessment.
And of course, it's all critical that we know these things, their literacy, their employability, and all their sobriety requirements. So starting day one of incarceration, we can prepare those individualized plans so that every inmate spends every day of their incarceration preparing for their release.
Are you ready to take the first step? 'Cause here I stand on a mountain, waiting for tomorrow. 'Cause my whole world as I know it came crashing down today. But if I just trust enough and love enough,
The keystone of the Getting Ready program is the corrections plan.
Each individual inmate has a corrections plan. The correction plan maps out what the inmate's needs are.
There's an objective assessment of every incoming offender, men and women alike, as they walk in the front door.
I'm here serving a 5-year sentence for manslaughter because of a bad choice.
Serving a 10-year sentence for aggravated DUI.
I'm here on an 18-year sentence for second-degree murder.
The correction plan maps out what the inmate's needs are. Do they need to focus more on work, education, or treatment? And then, just as it is in the real world, they take those needs and they take their skills and we apply that to where they're going to work or attend school or focus on treatment.
They look at our past history, they look at our crime, they look at what it is that we need during our incarceration.
I'm a caseworker.
I have inmates on a caseload, and I talk to them about where they're headed while they're in prison, how they're going to get ready to prepare for release when they get out of prison.
My name is Michael Chavez. I'm 23. I'm in here for marijuana for sale in now 5 years.
It's very important that we try and instill what we call the parallel universe, where we bring the outside world inside.
Parallel universe is how we do it, as much like the real world as good security practices will permit.
The concept of the parallel universe is that you want prison to best reflect the outside world so that you're able to make choices that are as meaningful to you in your life in prison as they would be if you were making these choices outside.
If you're in an environment where everything is geared towards your release, towards decision making that mirrors the type of decisions that you would make when you're in the free world, that preparation is the difference between a system that encourages you to reclaim your citizenship and a system that's going to encourage you to pay your life out in increments in state custody.
The number one.
Here, we've retooled the correctional system to look like the real world. So looking at the real world for principles, well, everything starts first with basic literacy.
Education is primary. If the inmates don't have an education, it's going to be very difficult for them to get out of prison and become productive.
I already started taking my GED classes. Then my teacher said I should pass.
So not only can you get your GED here, you can also go on and get an associate's in whatever you're looking for.
I never really was encouraged to get an education. I walked in here as a sophomore dropout, and I'm walking out of here with an education. That's amazing to me.
And the opportunities are there for programming for bettering ourselves through education, through GED education, through work-based education.
When an inmate first enters the prison system, they take a general test to see how well they do in those 3 subject areas. They're like sponges for knowledge, because a lot of times their life experiences and their academic experiences have not been as great as some others.
I never went past the 8th grade. So being in here, it's making me a better person, and I want to get my education. It's a big part. I want to go on and get my GED and get some college classes while I'm here. So when I get out, I can be a better person, not only to myself, but to my kids.
Our classroom is called mandatory. After the mandatory education, which is by state law that they have to pass the test prior to release, they can go into the GED class, which is equivalent to a high school diploma.
So if you walk in and you're not yet functionally literate, that's where you begin. Like the classroom where we saw where gals were just moving up to what they were calling mandatory. That means getting to that minimum level of academic proficiency. And then continuing on to job training, as evidenced by this work-based education, computer instructional classroom.
I do a lot of the hands-on work, answer the girls' questions, available for whatever they need.
So did you know all this stuff before you came here?
No, I was an idiot savant. I mean, I made my computer work at home, but I really didn't know how. I knew what I knew, and then I ended up here, and now I know what I know. If that makes any sense, so.
Does she know what she knows?
She knows what she knows. No, I just graduated from computer maintenance, and that was my teacher, and now I'm an aide.
So you're not just doing it yourself, but you're understanding it well enough that you're now helping somebody else move it along.
It was absolutely fabulous. I did the computer technology first, and then did this maintenance program, and I did it all in about 8 months. Got it done. And I'm graduating on the 8th with both certificates, and it's great.
Cancel all documents.
It's for me as a 7th grade dropout. Came here, got my mandatory GED, just completed my computer technology level 1, and now I'm enrolled in maintenance, and we're given the opportunity, we're given the chance, we're taking it.
So that not only are they improving themselves to get ready for the street, which is good news for us, but many of the computers that they are diagnosing and repairing have been donated by the business community. We refurbish them and then we turn them around to school-age children throughout Arizona who are needy and would not otherwise have that academic resource.
The Earned Incentive Program, or EIP, is a system by which inmates earn a better quality of life inside prison by modeling what we would expect of any good citizen in the real world.
In prison, it used to be that the day one when you got here, it was as good as it gets. Now we say to the inmate, if you'd like to earn more money, if you'd like to have more privilege, you have to earn that.
It's designed to encourage inmates and give some sort of motivation back for them to improve their behavior, seek their education, demonstrate a work ethic, get involved in positive activities so that they can earn additional privileges.
And with the Earned Incentive Program, there are 3 phases. And through time and efforts and energy, you can work your way up to the different phases.
When an inmate enters the system, they come in as a phase 1 inmate, meaning that here's a baseline of expectations for your behavior. Now, if you would like to have additional things occur, we need you to do some things. One is we need to have you remain disciplinary free. The other one is to have them pursue basic educational goals. If they already have their mandatory literacy, in order to move to phase 2, they have to get their GED.
If they get their GED while they are in prison, they're able to get higher paying jobs while they are still in prison.
A prison is very much like a small city. There's every job there that there is in a town or a city.
Painting portraits of somebody's faded dream, reaping the fruits of our identities, soaking up all our joy and blood. I'm drowning in a pool of what I once was.
All of the inmate workers here that you see dressed in orange are actually inmates assigned to the Arizona State Prison Complex in Lewis. It's a partnership with the Common Market Equipment and the Arizona Department of Corrections. In order to earn an opportunity to work here, inmates have to be fully compliant with their corrections plan. They have to have first addressed any programming needs that they may have, education, adult basic literacy, GED, and then they have to be discipline-free to qualify for an opportunity to work here. By the time they get a job here, they have demonstrated to us that they can practice pro-social behavior and are very invested in making sure that they return to society as a productive citizen. So employees that work here are very frequently employed by other manufacturers and trucking companies in the free world.
The inmates that come through here in the course of every single year have earned greater than 1/4 of all the GED certificates that are awarded statewide through Arizona by the Arizona Department of Education. This is one of our 15 firefighting crews. These are premier hotshot firefighters and the first females to do this work in the state. Every day, 2 hours physical training, and then out throughout Arizona fighting fires. These are gals who are minimum security. They have earned their way into this work opportunity by getting a GED, by having great institutional conduct, and having demonstrated their trustworthiness to be outside of the facility, as well as to work with some pretty significant equipment inside the facility. We stepped up the fire crews about 5 years ago, and in that time we have given back to Arizona over 1 million hours in man hours and lady hours, as well as $10 million in community betterment to Arizona taxpayers.
Well, throughout the year, generally on a fire they do whatever it takes to extinguish fire. We're talking building a hotline, fire line, getting resources from base camp, bringing it back. I mean, they're actually in the dirt doing the work on a regular basis, 16 hours a day until we get that fire put out. Our biggest thing is we want to make givers out of them and not takers. I mean, they've taken drugs, they've taken people's identity, they've taken money that wasn't theirs. And the way we look at it, takers eat well, givers sleep well. So that's what we're trying to get in them is once you get released to the outside, I feel confident knowing that my family's safe as well as yours.
So, how long have you been on the crew?
I've been on the crew 18 months.
And during that time?
During that time, I've done the grunt work. I'm now a squad boss. I've been a squad boss for 5 months now.
And what'd you have to do to get up to be the squad boss?
It was a lot of proving how much we wanted this opportunity to be a part of this crew. Being able to keep these girls going when they think they can.
Leadership skills?
Leadership skills.
They trust your judgment?
Yes. We trust one another. We know that without each other, we can't do this job.
You know that you can face something really tough and kind of scary and do a super job.
Yes, the challenges are great. I mean, the experience is great. I think it's going to make me a stronger person as far as I won't have to turn to, the things that got me here to begin with. I'll be able to face struggles head on instead of running away from them like I was used to doing. There's definitely skills that you can take with you outside of the game.
And though, yes, we're straight far away, I know that we can find our way home. So come back home.
And it won't be long. And it won't be long. Till I found my way home. Till I found my way home.
So come back home.
In the real world, life does not end at quitting time. Often it is what we do during our leisure time that both defines us and determines the course of our life.
When you're in the community, you're going to have 24/7 that you have to focus on. How am I civil and productive? If you start practicing those skills while you're in prison, the chance of you being more successful when you're released are greater.
I'm serving a 25 to life sentence for first-degree murder. I've been here 21 years. Back in the days when I first was incarcerated, we were only told to go to chow, go to work if you had a job, and if you went to education, had to be at education, and after that, you went back into your cell and you were done for the day.
Usually before, the system was like at 5 o'clock, the prison shut down, you're stuck in your cell, and that's where you stayed.
You're gonna have that idle time, and that idle time, who knows what you can be up to.
If you look at when most of these inmates get in trouble in the community, when they commit crimes, it's during this leisure time, this downtime.
A lot of the individuals you talk to The time that they got in trouble or broke the law was during their leisure time.
Like in the real world, the time we are not working is often spent improving the quality of our life in two broad areas: self-improvement and committing time to our families and our community.
So leisure time is two ways. How am I going to deal with my family and my community when I get out? And how am I going to deal with me personally so that I can be civil and productive? Those include things like conflict resolution, domestic violence, cognitive restructuring, so I can change my thinking. On the external piece, inmates work very hard on restorative justice programs that have to do with reconciling their crimes with their victims.
My 21-year-old son was home with me, and two men shoved the door open. One had a mask on, only his eyes were showing, the black mask. And I was asking him, "What do you want?" "There's my keys, there's my purse, take my car, take whatever you want. What do you want?" And he just stood up and told the other guy, "Watch him." And he walked away. I turned and I saw him turning the corner and he was going towards the bedrooms. And I screamed, "Please don't hurt my baby." I called my son baby. And when I turned to see if maybe his friend would come out, the house lit up with a red light. It was in the first gun blast went off. I remember turning the corner of my hallway thinking, as long as it's not his head, I can help him. But when I got to his room, he was hanging off the edge of his bed and I could see that there was a big hole in the back of it, in his head.
And while I ask for help, I need to forgive myself.
He fell off the bed and I thought it was from his body weight, but I still didn't go to him. He ended up pushing his body 2 times and made it over to me. And all I could do was fall to my knees and keep screaming, "Don't leave me, baby, please don't leave me. What do I do? What do I do?"
It takes away the pain when you let it overwhelm you. But with this surrender,
it's really a healing process for both the victim and the offender. As strange as that may sound to some people, it's a matter of healing both. And by telling their story and reaching out to people who are incarcerated, they feel that they are making a difference.
I think if I can just change one person's mind to let them know what the effect is of what they do, then that's worth it to me.
We're able to identify so much more within ourselves about the harm that we've done.
When they are able to feel the emotions that victim is feeling, that's sometimes when a light goes on and they say, "I get it now."
I got behind the wheel after having a few drinks after work one day with a group of friends. Thought for a fleeting moment, am I okay to drive? And I thought, sure, I'm okay to drive. And a mile from my house, I blacked out and took the life of an unborn fetus. And, that's something that I have to live with every day.
In prior times, it was easy to disassociate from your victim, though, because there was never any discussion about your victim, and people would rarely even speak about what they were locked up for.
There's a lot of pain in prison, and to be able to reach out and to admit that, yes, I made a mistake and I need to do something to fix this mistake, and I don't have to wait until I get out of prison. There's ways I can do it right now.
And we've had many members of our organization go into the prisons and share their stories firsthand with the offenders, and you realize that it can make a difference. Victims and survivors have a lot to share.
Offenders have held many fundraisers that have helped different organizations of the victims community. Ours particularly was awarded more than $33,000 one year, and those monies go to directly help victims.
It's really given me that human value back, that I am worthy to live another day.
Innovation, change of any kind, begins with a small shift in thinking, a slightly altered perspective, parallel universe, structuring life inside prison so that it reflects the real world, sounds like a simple common sense idea. Its power, however, is in how it requires you to think differently about big, all-encompassing concepts like how one human being ought to treat another.
The Getting Ready plan allowed staff to stop thinking of a unit of inmates as 800 inmates and think of them as 800 individuals.
Prior times, all of us had the same name, and that name was inmate. It was inmate this, inmate that. And what direct supervision has done is it's allowed a quality of humanity to enter into the...
Back in the early days, it was a lot different what it is now. It was, our philosophy was that we didn't really care a lot about what inmates did.
10 years ago, we were much more authoritarian. I mean, the old way of thinking is, gas them or shoot them. And that's how you dealt with business. I mean, an inmate was pounded on a cell, refused to get up his tray. You get a team together and you gas them and shoot him, take his tray back.
It was about enforcement of policy and rules.
We weren't able to communicate with them. They were to do their job and they were to tell us what we were supposed to do.
The inmate's behavior was something that we took and we caught him doing, and then we held him accountable through the disciplinary system. But you could do all that. But if you just took a second, go up there and listen to what he has to say, his issues, you could resolve it without any kind of force.
Now it's a lot different. Communicating with the inmates a lot better now than what we did before.
We're starting to be treated and spoken to as individuals now.
And direct supervision were to ever offend you in any way, shape, or form, you're actually encouraged to forgive that and move forward.
To where now we can open up a dialogue with them, which in turn makes their job better and also my time here on the yard much better.
The communication skills that I've developed over the last couple of years with our new programs, that is my arsenal. I mean, you never shoot your first bullet last.
The end goal really is to have our inmate, once he's released back out into the public, able to put the structures and the discipline systems in place on himself, because the department's not there to do it for him. There's no department to put a carrot on the end of the stick and encourage him. We need him to do the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do and because he wants to take control of his life and write his own destiny.
I wanted to let go of judgment, freeing me of thoughts that just weren't important, and then I would forgive and move on.
For the Visionaries, I'm Sam Waterston.
So speak your mind, 'cause every dream deserves a chance to live forever. Join the flow, the stream of all ideas, in the search to find and come to some solution. You're not alone, 'cause every dream deserves the chance to live forever. Now, in the search to find and come to some solution, you're not alone, 'cause every dream deserves a chance to live forever.
Visionaries is brought to you in partnership with Harvard University's Ash Institute for Democratic Governance. Additional funding provided by Helen D. Groom Beatty Trust, a Mellon Mid-Atlantic charitable trust.